So this is a thought experiment where I have the benefit of hindsight. And there's a couple of caveats before I talk about what I might have done differently. The first is it's really difficult to make decisions in real time, whether it's from the tactical all the way to the strategic, pertaining to warfare. So when we look back on decisions the Biden administration made pertaining to Russia, Ukraine, we have to do it with a bit of grace, understanding that the enemy gets a vote. The enemy and his partners try to shape the outcome just as much as we do, and that has an impact. I think it was Mike Tyson that said everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. I do the same thing with Bush in Iraq and Afghanistan and Obama as well. It's really difficult to understand what is going on in real time. And it's easy for us to look back with all the information and go, well, you should have done that. So there's two things that I would have done differently. The first is I think that Biden and his administration expressed that the United States wouldn't put boots on ground in Ukraine too early and too often. I agree that we probably should not put boots on ground in Ukraine, but I wouldn't have expressed it so much. Let that thought hang in the air for Putin to consider. The US isn't saying anything about boots on ground, so maybe they're considering it. Who knows? And I get that the American public probably wanted to know, are boots on ground going to be a thing? And unfortunately, they would have probably just had to wait a couple weeks. And I could have said, for operational security reasons, we need to just not discuss that right now. And then others will say, well, it would have made Putin nervous to just not say anything, and he's a madman with his finger on the button. Well, he's a madman with his finger on the button already. I don't think that distinction would have made any difference. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I think I would have leveraged the US's very robust cyber warfare capability against Russia's military infrastructure. We haven't used it yet, but I think if we could have pushed it out to the Russia's military infrastructure, disrupted some of their communications earlier on, they may have had to hold back a couple days on their movements in or something like that, or even reconsidered it as their systems were malfunctioning. I would have also attacked potentially their government entities or propaganda arms, but I wouldn't have used cyber warfare against the general public. Some have said we need to take down Russian power plants and such. I don't believe in that, at least in this current stage or what we've seen so far. So those are really the only two things I would have done differently. And again, I have the benefit of hindsight.